is our first shot at Crew Reviews. Off topic, boys. It's been in the works for a couple weeks, and this is the culmination of minutes worth of thought. So, perfect.
I'd like to say this is our Halloween edition, but this is how we normally dress, isn't it?
Right, exactly.
I just was behind on laundry, and this is all I could find.
Yeah. He killed that bear recently, and he skinned it, so now he's wearing
He had
his
it coming.
victory. We've seen the pictures.
This is
Years in the making. This revenge was years in the making.
I'm trying to get us some Disney Plus sponsorship. So Disney Plus, if you're watching this, come on.
Is there a Disney After Dark, maybe? I don't know.
There could be if we host the show.
Oof, now we're talking. All right. So this is the first off-topic show. We're branching out to our stupidity to its maximum level, and here we are. We've reached that first major branch.
Close that thing.
That's right.
Is he looking at me or you? Who's he looking at?
It's probably not even Chris. It's probably a stand-in. It's probably his kid, and he's off doing something else.
We'll overdub the voice later.
Yeah, right. Sounds like
this
Pee Wee
is my
Herman.
everyday work uniform, by the way, just so you guys know.
Is that right? Is that what the missus was asking for a little later on?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder why he doesn't work at the White House anymore.
No,
Well, only when called upon.
right.
Major circumstances. All right, so we're working on an off-topic situation here. We're approaching 2019 Halloween edition, and we're going to start this off by discussing what Halloween-inspired movie scared you the most, or what movie scared you the most that reminds you around Halloween time. In my upper left-hand corner is Mr. Eric Bishop. We're going to start off with him. Mr. Bishop, or Mr. Ewok, or whatever it is. What movie was it?
I don't know what Ewoks are afraid of, but I tell you what, and I don't know how old I was now. Sean would probably know what year it came out, and I don't remember. But when the first Nightmare on Elm Street came out, and I remember the waterbed scene.
1984.
Ooh, yeah.
Wait. How's this for a wet dream?
I tell you
1984.
84. Okay, so I was 8, but I didn't see it at 8, so I probably saw it at 9 or 10. But I was still young, and I had a waterbed. So I tell you what, that movie scared me, and I saw some scarier ones, but my mind always went back to Freddy, the fingers, every time I was in my waterbed and I was shaking, I'm just waiting for the hand to come up through me and just.
So, Eric, the first time you saw Freddy Krueger, did you have a hard time going to sleep for like the next week?
I do remember the first night was hard. The first night, again, you're in a waterbed, so you're wobbling around, and that the scene just keeps playing in my head. So it was a little bit of a challenge. Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Iron Man, or C.E. Albanese. What movie got you the most? What was it that creeped you out or scared you to death?
Willy Wonka.
Was it the Oompa Loompas? What was it?
I've got a perfect puzzle for you.
Scary. Those things gave me nightmares. Actually, that's not my scariest movie.
All right.
It was a movie that came out in 1987 called The Gate.
The Gate.
The Gate.
Have you guys remember that? And do you remember seeing it?
Yes.
There was a hole in the backyard.
Yeah.
And the kid's parents ended up leaving, and him and his sister had to fight off these demons. And there was one particular scene where there's like this construction worker in his bedroom, and the construction worker falls down, and he splits into like a dozen little demons, and they run around and they scurry around. Still gives me nightmares.
Your birthday's coming up soon. I wonder if that's on 4K.
Oh.
No.
All right. So this is Sean Cameron. He finally had it in with the bear that's been terrorizing him for years.
Look
and
down,
he
Sean.
was successful, and he is now wearing the skin of his vanquished enemy. let's hear
Well,
what
other than the
Sean
Country
has to do.
Bears, other than the Country Bears,
Oh.
the scariest movie I ever saw, it actually has to do with the movie and the immediate aftermath of the movie. I was not allowed to go to our movies when I was 10 or 11, like most 10 or 11-year-old kids. I was spending the night at a friend of mine's house, and his mom said, "Hey, let's go to this movie I want to see." And she mentioned the name, and I'd never heard it before, and it was called The Entity, and it was, quote, based on a true story.
Ooh.
So we get there, and I realize it's rated R. And so I say to my friend, I'm not allowed to see our movies. And he's just like, "Oh, come on, nobody knows. Just my mom's getting us in. Let's go." Well, so I went to this movie. The movie was about a spirit that rapes a woman over the course of several years.
Yes.
There was somebody there. I couldn't see him with my eyes, but there was somebody there.
Yes. I
Barbara
saw
Hershey
that.
had like big time actor. Barbara Hershey was in
Yes.
it. It was, first of all, it was terrifying.
That shower scene.
Oh, there were all kinds of scenes that were like well beyond my experience.
Yeah.
But that's not the scariest part. So we come out of this movie and my nerves are completely jangled. And my friend's mother, and I'm glad I didn't say his name, had been drinking during, and apparently that was a thing with her. So we get out of the movie and we turn on the street, and I say, "Mrs. So-and-so, we're going the wrong way in a one-way street." She goes, "I know what street this is." She starts to argue with me, and then she looks up and there's two cars coming towards us.
Oh,
Nice.
So she pulls onto the sidewalk, takes out a parking meter, does a quick U-turn. A few minutes later, we're at his house, and he says, "Hey, do you want to spend the night again? My mom says it's okay." And I said, "No, we have a family reunion today. It's big. Everybody's coming from all over the country. We had never had a family reunion to that point in my life, and we weren't having one that day either. But yeah,
Quick thinking.
The movie terrified me, but the experience afterward may have ruined me for a few years.
Quick thinking. Well, I have two, and I'll mention the one that I voted second place, and that's a place actually close to where I live, the Stanley Hotel
Oh yeah,
and The Shining.
great
Yeah,
movie.
I've been
And
there.
that was, and man, that red rum scene still like would just send shots up my spine. And I was full on grown man when I saw that. And I had a hard time dealing with it. I will say that my number one movie of all time that just to this day, it's freaks me out is Linda Blair and the Exorcist.
Let us pray. Holy Lord, Almighty Father, everlasting God, and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who once and for all...
Do you know what she did? Your canting daughter?
Knew it was coming. That's why I started spinning in my chair.
Something about a young girl possessed by the devil and all those scenes, and some great acting too, by the way. The Exorcist still freaks me out. And do you guys remember there was this whole thing about and I don't recall if it was ever proven true or not, but there were supposedly some sort of subliminal beehive noises thrown in the audio track underneath. I don't know if that was ever proven true or not, but that idea of that addition was enough to just send me over the edge. So
yeah, people that grow up with today's special effects might not appreciate how terrifying that movie was at that time. And really, like you said, I mean, to me, it still affects me.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate any of those types of demon possession.
I do too.
Movies.
Right?
I don't watch them. I can't because they are scary.
I chaperoned my daughter to a first date, and it was one of the has a video camera, and it
One of the Blair Witch.
Paranormal Activity, one of the Paranormal Activities.
Yeah.
And
never saw
I
any of those.
didn't like it at all, and it kind of ruined my sleep for the next few nights.
Yeah. No kidding, man.
Same thing. But
The
thing about The Shining is just like Jaws makes people think about it in the ocean. I mean, I stopped riding my big wheel through abandoned hotels after that movie because that scene.
I've been to the Stanley Hotel a couple of times, broad daylight on a weekend with hundreds of people milling about, and there's just something about it that just kind of
Your skin, your hair still rises.
You're kind of like you can't wait to maybe go get some ice cream somewhere.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times as well.
You know what I forgot to tell you about The Gate? Do you guys watch HBO's True Detective?
I've seen the first season.
Not.
So one of the detective, Roland West, he's one of the characters in the story. He was his first movie as a kid was The Gate. He was the main kid in it. So I thought I didn't even know it was him until I looked it up. I was like, wow, how weird is that?
Wow, small world.
So I got a question for you guys about Halloween. What was either your best or your worst Halloween costume you wore growing up? Mike, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, the worst. Well, back in the day, we would take the pillowcase and cut out the two eyes, stick it over your head, and now it'd probably be a Ku Klux Klan outfit, but back then you were the scary ghost, right?
Yeah.
The eyes were, no matter what you did, the eyes were always off. So they're too wide and you're looking at one, or you're doing something weird. And it looked, then you had the drool stain on one corner that had been there for 30 years. Pillows were passed down by generations.
You didn't even get clean pillowcase.
No, well, we couldn't afford it, And the mom was pissed that you'd used something from 30 years that she's been. So, yeah, I would say that that homemade, actually now if I wore it, it would probably end up being super scary because it is kind of freakish. But back then it was kind of silly. But now it might actually work.
Chris, what about you? Best or worst costume?
It's kind of, I don't know if it's the best or the worst. It's just one that sticks out in my head when I was a small kid. You didn't have any money, as Mike was saying. You just did what you had. But I remember my parents. I wanted to be Yoda. My parents ended up getting me a Yoda mask, and so but my father wanted to paint my ears and whatever else was showing green, and then I had to use my father's bathrobe and his cane. And so I was little Yoda, but as we were walking around, I lost the tie for the robe and the cane, and I was petrified to go back home.
Oh, geez, Grandpa's cane.
No, my father's. It was even worse.
It's
even worse. Old school Italian man. Didn't matter how old you were. You were gonna get it beaten.
Yeah, get back out there and find it.
Where's my cane? You're wearing my bathrobe.
You're not getting beat with a cane if you lose.
And so what happened? We ended up having to go retrace our steps with not my father, me and my brother and sister.
Oh, sure.
Retrace our steps and find it.
or something very close.
Or not come home.
Or not come home.
All right, Ewok Bishop, what was your best or worst costume?
So probably the dumbest one leads into a good story. Is probably last year I was trick or treating, which was not 35. It was mid to late teens, and me and a buddy went to a local condo place because back then you go to condos, that's a jackpot. T-shirt, baseball bat, and fake blood coming down our face. Don't know what we were. Sporting people of some sort, baseball players, whatever.
Poor Warriors costume.
Well, we're going through the condo. We're doing well. Again, you talk about the pillowcase.
Yeah,
it's half full of candy. So we get to this one condo, the lower level. I think it was on the first floor. Knock on the door, and we're knocking on the door, and like before the door even opens, we're like, man, this smells like BO. I mean, like that door opens and it's like a wave comes out, hits us. Total body odor. The nicest gentleman standing there is from a country far, far away. He does not speak a lick of English, not even pretending to. And we're holding out our pillowcases filled with candy, and we go trick or treat. And of course, I got fake blood on my face, baseball bat in my hand. The guy's probably having a flashback to Vietnam where he grew up. Horrible thing. No clue what trick or treat means, and he just says trick or treat. We're like, yeah, trick or treat. We're showing our bag, pulling out candy, and he just shaking his head. He goes, leaves, come back. We're hoping he closed the door so the smell wouldn't be so bad, but kept the door open. Smell was pretty bad. And comes back a minute later, pulls out his wallet, starts pulling out dollar bills, and didn't give us $3-4 each. We're just like, trick or treat. We left there, and everyone we saw were like, hey, first floor condo down at the end.
That's so bad.
Have you guys ever done this?
We ended on a good note.
Before Deshaun jumps in, have you ever done this? We used to carry a rubber mask at the bottom of our pillowcase where we were keeping our candy. And if you got to a really good house that gave out a full-size candy bar or something you really like, go around the corner, throw on the rubber mask, go back around, pick it up again. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Something
All right,
like
Shawnee
that
boy,
happened.
what's the story?
So my best costume, and again, people that grow up today where these masks are ubiquitous. There was nobody I knew had a real Darth Vader mask when I was a kid. I mean, they just weren't. They were extremely expensive, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
weren't at Target. But a friend of my brother's, Hans Meisness, shout out to Hans Meisness,
Hans.
brought over his Darth Vader mask for me to dress up as Darth Vader that Halloween, and it was pretty much a rock star in the neighborhood because, we were all Star Wars crazy, and
Yeah.
nobody had that. And Hans ended up giving that mask to me. He said, "I think so.
Jeez.
I hope Hans, you gave it to us." But
That's how you remember it.
Your Honor.
but I got to tell you, one of my favorite costume stories is SNL. Martin Short was on Saturday Night Live when my brother was young, and my younger brother was a little kid, and he had a really advanced sense of humor. And there was a character named, I don't know if you guys remember, but Ed Grimley.
Yeah,
And Martin
sure.
Short played him, and he had these real high-waisted black pants and this orange shirt, and he played a triangle, and his hair was like
Straight
moosed
up
up
in a
into
spike.
a point. And my brother Joe thought he was hilarious, so he dressed up at us, and he was like 8 or something. And so he's this 8-year-old Ed Grimley, and he went to the first door, and this little old sweet lady was like, "Oh, are you a unicorn?" my brother was so disgusted. He was like, "No, I'm Ed Grimley from Saturday Night Live, Martin Short." And like he starts explaining it to her, and she has no clue what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
but see, then the joke is ruined.
It almost ruined his night. Luckily, a few people figured out who he was. But, well, only 8-year-old Ed Grimley in the world, probably.
All right, let's wrap this up. Quick round. Eric, what are your kids going for Halloween this year?
My son is going as Frodo, and my daughter is going as Merlin.
Nice. We want to see that. Mr. Albanese, what do you got on tap for the kids?
So my 9-year-old boy is going as Poop.
Poop.
So when he gets fall down drunk, he's like all set, right?
Yeah, he's the best. And my daughter's going as a vampire.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shawnee boy, what's up?
Hey, my youngest is a freshman, and she decided to stay home and hand out candy.
Yeah.
So she's reached that point where
Yeah.
she's not as interested in it.
Yeah.
It's
I
okay.
got a
Dad
high-
dressed up, so she's fine.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's good.
That's right. Now my boys in college, they'll probably dress up like idiots and do something.
Whatever they find on the floor. Yeah. Got a high school freshman, and he's like pretty non-committal. My 7th grader is he bought a ghillie suit. So he wants to. He's going to hide out in the neighborhood in certain spots,
That's hilarious.
and he's going to terrorize some people.
You're
He's
gonna
probably
have
going to
the
get
cops
beaten up
called.
with a baseball bat, the bloody baseball bat. People.
Possibly.
Yeah. Although it's snowing like crazy outside, that ghillie suit might not be the best choice.
Yeah, we're supposed to have rain all day. I
Yeah,
don't know
well-
what's gonna happen.
Our high is 30 of the day, and we got about a foot of snow already.
Wow.
So, I know. What are you
Crazy.
gonna do? So, all right, gentlemen.
Huh?
Off topic.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween
Halloween,
to
everyone.
everybody.
Be safe out there. X-ray your candy.
X-ray your candy. Don't eat the razor
And
blades.
if you're giving out candies, give out full bars.
Don't
And
be
if somebody
Snickers
gives out
satisfied.
dollar bills, don't tell everybody. Go home and get another mask and come back.
Come back.
another ill-fitting pillowcase.
Amen.
All right. Until next
Happy
time. people.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
See
See
you,
ya.
folks.